Hello! Welcome back. In today's video we're going to be talking about something that's not really talked about that often, and that is the stretch reflex, and that is the bouncing out of the hole in the squat, the popping up through the hips when you're deadlifting, and I'm going to be talking about when you shouldn't be utilising. For example, the bench press, when using the calf raise machine, and why it's actually not cheating. People are like, oh, you shouldn't bounce out of the hole in the squat, it's cheating. No, it's not, and today I'm going to be explaining exactly why you should be utilising every ounce of the stretch reflex for a bigger, better, badder squat and deadlift, so you can watch those numbers increase over time so you can build a strong, solid, confident physique like mine. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. As always, if you think the video is good, give it a like, because I do appreciate every single one, because ego and just makes me feel better about myself. So yeah, enjoy the video, let's get into it. Ballon d'Or then, did he? Unfortunate. Lucky human. Well done, Ronaldo. Filming today. Taking a common sense approach when it comes to your nutrition. Couldn't think of a worse time frame or a more unrealistic time frame to try and cut body fat from around probably mid-December through to probably the start of January, because Christmas nights out with your businesses and who you work for and whatnot, social occasions with the family, and it's not realistic. So a lot of my clients, and Jake's, who you'll meet in a bit, have been going through a strength phase and a mass building phase, which is pretty more realistic to do this time of the year. And we've got a powerlifting meet down at UFIT, so that's what today's going to consist of. But before, myself and him are going to Penland Pantry. Are you excited, Soph?
Yes.
Over there to warm up, and then we're going to use these 2 racks for your squat attempt. So we'll have like one lower rack and then one higher rack. And remember, if something says 11, that means 11. What do you mean? I mean people strolling in at 10 past.
In short, the stretch reflex is a response to stretching within a muscle. When a muscle lengthens, the muscle spindle is stretched and its nerve activity increases. As demonstrated in the video, the stretch reflex will occur lower in the squat when comparing high bar and low bar, where in the low bar it will occur higher up in the squat. Notice the pop coming out of the hole demonstrated in this squat video. This is the stretch reflex. This is what we want to be utilising driving out of the hole. Differently here, I'm using a slower descent, and you can see it's a lot more difficult to drive out of the hole. This is why being able to squat to depth is vitally important to ensure that you can utilise the stretch reflex to its truest potential. Whilst we're on the topic of descents, you may be wondering, how fast should I descent in the squat? When comparing the 2 squat videos, you'll notice that the heavier loaded bar, my descent is slightly slower than my warm-up reps. Yet at the bottom you can still see that I'm utilising that stretch reflex. As a beginner, it's vitally important that you can sit in the squat in a controlled manner. As you progress, don't be afraid to start increasing the speed throughout the descent to ensure that you can utilise that stretch reflex. Now switching our attention to the deadlift and staying with the topic of beginners, it's important that you grasp an understanding as to how you should be setting up by taking your time. By hanging around in the hole, taking time to set up, you're actually wasting that stretch reflex that can be utilised in the same way in the deadlift as the squat. As you become more comfortable with your setup, you can start increasing the speed of your deadlift to get that pop from the bottom of the deadlift, and that is the stretch reflex, and that's how we can utilise it for the deadlift. Movements like the bench press and the calf raise that we don't want to utilise the stretch reflex, and this is because it can lead to injury. That's why I get the majority of my clients to pause their first rep of their bench press in a controlled eccentric manner. Bouncing the bar off your chest could lead to serious injury and may prevent you from increasing the load on the bar. When performing a calf raise, we want to be using our calves, hence calf raise. Bouncing in and out of the calf raise, you're actually using the stretch reflex in your Achilles heel, which takes all of the attention away from the calf. Take a 2-second pause at the bottom, and I can guarantee you that you will be feeling your calves a lot more when performing the calf raise.